Hi, I'm Golda. If you've never watched before, I'm just a connected individual. I like to do readings. I've taken like the whole month of October off. I needed to clear all of my energy. You know, when you just feel like it's just a whole lot going on, you just need to kind of reset. And really, it's just been tower moment after tower moment after tower moment to the point where I'm just kind of like, what the fuck? Yeah, so I just feel like I'm at a crossroads in my life with everything. So months ago, my guides led me to create this crossroads spread. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that now. I'm using a few decks. So I'm using my basic tarot. So I called upon a few of my guides to come through to my tarot cards. And I definitely feel like it's my first cousin, 3 times removed. And I feel my Goko and I feel my aunt coming through these cards. With my Shamanic Healing Oracle cards, I called upon my Shamanic guide, Misa, to come through in the cards. And then with my Fool's Wisdom my Fool's Wisdom Oracle, I called upon my great-grandfather to come through. He helped my grandmother get her farm. And he just has always been there for me, like since I can remember. And so I really want his guidance on how to guide through this. Fool's card is the first card in the major arcana, and it represents a journey. It represents like just going for this journey. And so the Fool's wisdom is just really giving you guidance through your journey. With the Shamanic healing cards, that is to really look to what can heal myself and my spirit so that I can continue as a light worker and not let this physical realm really get me. And I clarified everything at the end with the Thoth deck. With the Thoth, this is really just universal energy that I channel, and this is just spirit all together being channeled to give me guidance, to really clarify everything. Because to be honest, this whole spread was so fucking intense to me. It's a real big read. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So for the tarot, I'm going to start with the tarot. So I pulled the Justice card, the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups in reverse, the Five of Cups. The Chariot is clarifying the Justice and the Pentacles, and also the Hermit card is clarifying the Justice and the the Page of Pentacles. The Judgment and the Eight of Wands is going to clarify the Knight of Cups in reverse and the Five of Cups. And to bring some clarity to both main issues, the Five of Wands and the Empress. Okay, so clearly on this side, you see that there are two crossroads. There's two major crosses. So these are two major issues that are bringing crossroads to my life. And it's really interesting because they do spell out the two things that are causing the most issues. So let's get into it. So with the Justice card, when you look at justice, right, this woman is balancing on this little vine. Okay, she's balancing apples and oranges, and really it's almost like she's just trying to balance everything. And that is an issue for me right now. Balance. I feel like I'm trying to balance everything. I'm trying to be every person, and it's really stressing me the fuck out. And then we're going to have it with the Page of Pentacles. Okay, and you see the coincidence. He's balancing on the same little thread, the little vine. So balance is a major issue. With the Page of Pentacles, you see he has a key, right? So he's holding the key. Pages are like a new kind of like energy that is coming through. And when we have the Page of Pentacles, there is a new energy that is going to come through. This is what I want. This is what I'm wanting. I'm needing a new energy, material-wise, career-wise, financial, spiritually. I need a new energy to come through. I feel like I'm balancing, and it's really becoming stressful. If you really look at her face as she's balancing, her cheeks are red. She's looking tired. She's looking worried. I don't know if you could tell, but she doesn't look happy. And her heart is very heavy because she's trying so hard to balance everything. That's how I feel right now. Trying to balance. I would really like a new energy, some sort of new something to come through, because I'm feeling very worn and I'm feeling very tired and ready for something new to happen. So that's the first issue, right? There's no balance. I need balance. Also, when we're looking at Venus just hits Libra. So I just was talking about the Justice. So this is kind of like the vibe that's happening while Venus is in Libra. It's this balancing of the scales that needs to happen. I know that I need to be balancing the scales. So second issue that we're coming with on this crossroads, right? We see the Knight of Cups in reverse, right? And then we see the Five of Cups. So with the Knight of Cups in reverse, the Knight is supposed to be like a message that's coming through. Actually, Knights are very action-driven kind of cards where it's this action that's moving forward, this message, this action towards cups, towards love, towards emotion. And for me, that action's not happening. And I mean, really, I forewarn you, this is not like a really light, fluffy fucking read. Nothing is going to be happening the way I want it to right now. And sometimes when you do a reading, it's just going to be like that. You're not always going to get a reading that's going to say everything's going to be perfect. Sometimes you get readings that tell you shit's about to get real, shit is fucked up, and you just got to go through it. So this is something I want really, really bad. This card represents a twin flame and probably doesn't even really believe in that kind of connection. And if they did believe in that connection, I don't know if they're believing in it right now. And it's left me to feel very disappointed, very sad. If you look at this person right here, I think though that's interesting when I look at this is that even though it feels like all is lost, like this person is still covered. Like it's raining everywhere, but you still have an umbrella. You're still being covered. So all is actually not lost. But it looks like this person has given up. I mean, they're just filling out their own cup, like fuck it. And I guess that's it. Could be how I feel, where I kind of feel like, you know, this message isn't happening and everything kind of seems fucked up and it just seems like, you know, fuck it. Like, I guess it's just not going to happen. And so when I say that this represents a twin flame connection, twin flame connections are connections that you have with us, not just a person, but with their spirit. And it's like a 5D connection where your spirits are both connected in the 5D. And no matter what you do to try to, move away from that connection, it's just going to be a connection. So with this twin flame connection, it doesn't look really positive for me. With this balancing of my life, doesn't feel very positive. Let's clarify this. So with the first issue, when we have the Justice and we have the Chariot, right? I mean, we have the Chariot, that's clarifying the Justice and the Page of Pentacles. And then we also have the Hermit. So with this Chariot, this is really like, and I want to really say that coming through for this main issue is my first cousin, 3 times removed. She is really somebody that I know in 2016 brought a lot of guidance, a lot of visions, and a lot of dreams to me that really gave me the guidance for what I want to do. What I ultimately want to do is have a spiritual health and wellness spa. Hence why I'm going to school for Ayurveda, because I want to be a healer. I want to practice Ayurveda in this spa. Hence why I work at a meta spa as a manager, because I want to learn how to really run one of these. Hence why I'm a Reiki practitioner, actually Reiki master, why I've learned crystal healing. This is why I have put together everything that I've been doing. This was why I'm putting all this education together, is to have something like this, right? And I feel that I'm not really truly going for it like I think I am. When I go to work, I appreciate my job, but I feel very empty when I leave. I feel very empty every day. And it's not like I don't appreciate my job. I appreciate it. It's an honor to work there. I mean, really an honor. The women I work for, my director is fucking amazing. My direct manager, amazing, smart woman. I mean, we work with some of the top people in the industry, and it's a privilege, but I just don't think that it's aligned with my purpose. And I'm realizing that if what I'm doing is not spirit driven, I don't think I'm going to be happy. And so I'm finding myself feeling like a little stuck. And so when I see this Chariot, it's making me really feel like it's saying, like, Eileen, like my cousin is saying, like, you need to start going for what the fuck we talked about, what the fuck I showed you when I see the Hermit in reverse. So it goes 2 ways for me, because the Hermit in reverse, me taking time off, me going in my shell, I don't think it's good anymore. It's time to get the fuck out the shell. I think that if you sit here and you wallow in any kind of negativity, that negativity builds. So me feeling overwhelmed and all that kind of bullshit, cut it off. Fuck that. I can't sit here and be in my shell all the time. Shell time is good, but too much shell time ain't good. But also this card reminds me of 2016. And in 2016, that was when I really began to be myself again. After dealing with everything with my mom and not really caring about whether I lived or died. And once I realized I wanted to live, 2016, that was that year where I was like, okay, this is what I am. You know, I saw my mom die very unhappy, very unfulfilled. She was very depressed. And I feel that because she didn't follow her heart for things she wanted to do. She wanted to be a good mom. She wanted to make sure she made the money that she needed to make. But were you fulfilled? Like, were you fulfilled when you died? And you weren't, dude. And that's just not going to be me. And I think that if I continue on the way that I am, like not doing readings, always just working, I don't even have time to do anything but work. And that's not going to work for me anymore. As much as I don't want to do that, that's what this is telling me. The chariot needs to go to things that we created in 2016. She gave me so many visions in 2016, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? You just gonna get comfortable? Because at the beginning of the year, you said that by December, you would have your own space to be practicing. Suddenly, you got this job, and now you haven't even thought about your own space. You're too worried about this clinic. You're too worried about your career. You're too worried about where you want to go within this career, and you've almost forgotten that you're a fucking light worker. You've almost forgotten that you have a mission of your own that you're supposed to be doing, not other people's missions. You have to connect with your mission, and you're losing that because you're getting caught up in this material shit and making enough money and making whatever kind of statement you can in an industry that it might not be even an industry for you, not even an industry that you probably even belong in. So ultimately, wow, that's what that's saying to me, is that no matter what I think I'm doing right now, and I think that this is like making some sort of start for me, this isn't the right path. And I need to be moving towards what I was creating in 2016. I need to be moving towards my own space because I think that that will create the balance that I need. That's the new energy that I need. That is the new vibe that is going to create stability in my life too, so that I could make my own schedule. So if I do need to go do something for my kids, I can do that instead of having to be connected to somebody else's time clock. Fuck. That is hard. That's a hard message because for a person like me, that freaks me the fuck out because I have kids I have to support. So to think about branching out on my own, that freaks me the fuck out. Anyway, so now let's move to this here. So to clarify the Knight of Cups in reverse and the Five of Cups, we have the Judgment card. And we also have that with the Eight of Wands. So the reason why there is no forward movement and no action with this twin flame is because there is a karmic involved. And the karmic needs judgment, okay? A karmic relationship is a relationship and a bond that it began amazing, right? You thought that this was the person for you. But in the end, all this was toxic shit. It was toxic shit that brought you to places that you didn't want to be, brought you down to being a human that is just full of toxicity, full of drama, full of pain, full of resentment. Karmic relationships are really your biggest test in life. If you can muster up the energy and muster up the strength to move away from a karmic relationship, I think that you are probably going to be the strongest that you'll ever be to move forth in your life and do things that you would like to do as far as overcoming challenges, as far as knowing yourself, as far as having self-love, because karmics are very they're magnetic. They're magnetic because what happens is you get stuck in this cycle of bullshit and then you get used to the cycle of bullshit and then you become dependent on the cycle of bullshit. And once you step away and you say, no, I got to get the fuck away from this shit, you start to realize it is even harder to step the fuck away. So I have not had a judgment yet. I've been looking for judgment. I've been looking for closure for this, and it hasn't happened yet. And because that hasn't happened yet, this flame connection is suffering. This flame connection is actually becoming weaker and weaker the more that this judgment doesn't happen. That judgment is coming, but is it going to be too late? That's what I worry. Is it going to be too late? Does that flame see or know the amount of work that I'm doing? Everything that I do, I don't talk about all the time, because I just like to function the way I do. You know, I'm a real quiet, kept kind of person, and I like to move the way I move with no pressure. But this lack of this judgment happening is really getting in the way of something that I think would be really good for my future. But I can't control that. I have to understand that this is divine timing. Coming through for this situation is definitely my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt. All three of those women had very huge issues with men, and especially my mother and especially my aunt. My aunt committed suicide in 1989 because of a relationship that was too much. And it almost was to the point that I don't know if she knew how that was going to end. She didn't know what to do. And it drained every piece of her soul to the point that she fucking ended that shit. My mother, very much the same. That relationship was so fucking toxic. My dad used to tell her to go outside and get a switch and then beat her with the switch in front of us. And it was nothing to him. That's what she grew up with. She married him when she was 17. That's a lot for an individual, right? And all of this shit is behind a man. So they're telling me, don't do that shit. Do not be like us. Do not go through our path where you let these karmic relationships drain you to the point that you don't have anything left for yourself. My mom died depressed. So she didn't kill herself, but she killed herself slowly through alcohol and through pills, through not loving herself and through not taking care of herself. So I strongly feel that they are coming through with this message for me because they don't want that for me. My aunt Chloe she's alive, but with her, she don't play no shit. My uncle, he just passed a couple weeks back, and my cousin took some of my mother's ashes to go bury with my grandmother to Swaziland. And I started to break down when I was talking to her. And she told me, she was like, stop that fucking crying. Don't you fucking cry. We don't cry. We're strong. We're strong. You have to be strong. And I understand why she's saying that, because we've seen my mother die. We've seen my aunt die. We saw them die because we let things overcome. And we can't do that. We're empaths. We are very sensitive people in this family. So you can't let people, karmic relationships especially, you can't let that shit tear you down. You have to be strong. So this judgment is coming. And I have to know, though, that even though the judgment is coming, it's still going to be a lot of work. That twin flame might not be there. And if that twin flame isn't there, I have to still be okay with that. I still have to be happy. If that flame is still there, then it's a lot of work to do still. It's still a lot of work, and it's going to take time. But I think that things will move. So to clarify both of these situations, because there are things I have to do, and it's clearly laid out. So to sum up with this portion of the reading, we have the Five of Wands, and then we have the Empress. So the Five of Wands is a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge that I have coming to me. And you see that it is definitely a fight. It is definitely a fight that is going to come with trying to get this judgment, and also with trying to get my own space to have my own practice. It's going to be hard. But in the end of that, though, I just have to remember I am the Empress. That is what both of these women that are coming through for me in this spread are telling me, that I am the Empress. I am the Divine Feminine. I have these women behind me in spirit. And these are strong, powerful women. The women in my family are very strong, powerful women. We might sometimes get fucked over because we fall in love and we get caught up in bad relationships. But ultimately, spiritually, we are a very strong family. The Libra women are not barely matched as far as the amount of spiritual power that we have. And so even though there is a huge struggle and a huge challenge and a huge fight that I have to really work through, I have to remain strong. Whew, God, that's a lot. Because you have to now see, how am I going to really do all of this? So I'm going to now move to the Fool's Wisdom deck. This is my great-grandfather that I asked to come through for this deck here. So with my first cards, I have pulled 4 cards. With this deck, I did it different from the Crossroads spread. I pulled the 33rd card from here. The 33 is the Master Teacher. I pulled the Purposeful in reverse, the Deceitful in reverse, the Helpful, and the Romantic Fool. So these are things that I need to be doing to get through this journey, because I have a new journey that I now have to face with branching out on my own to get my own practice, and also with branching out on my own to let go of this karmic relationship and maybe have a flame connection and maybe not. But regardless, I am having to move on from the karmic relationship. So the Purposeful in reverse. So if we look at it upright and we read the purposeful, it says live purposefully, right? But I have it in reverse. So this is confirmation that right now I am not living in my purpose. And what he's saying is that, honey, I'm sorry, but you have to change because you have to be living on purpose. Somewhere along the road, you've lost it. That is something that you told yourself a long time ago, that you will always live on purpose. So now that you're living and you're functioning, you're not. You know, you go to work and you don't even talk about anything that has to do with your life or your purpose. You just sit there and you just nod and you smile. Empty. And that's true. That is what I do. And I do whatever I can to just blend. And at this time, I'm tired of trying to blend. I don't blend. I never have blended with anybody. I grew up in Atlanta talking the way I talk. That don't really work when you over in the South Side or when you're over on the East Side. Niggas is like, who the fuck are you? Why are you talking like this? People used to make fun of me. And I got used to not fitting in. And so now, why the fuck am I concerned about fitting in now? Why? And I guess because it's my career. And it's hard to go somewhere where you just feel like you can't talk. But at this point, you have to do that. 2 + 9 is 11. 11 is really talking about being a light worker. So I'm not living my purpose as a light worker. And he's like calling me out on it. All right, so the next card is deceitful in reverse. Okay. Now, if we look at it upright, it says trust your intuition. So this card upright is about others deceiving you. But when it's in reverse, it's about me deceiving others. Okay. Who am I not being honest with? There are a lot of people I'm not being honest with, and I'm also not being honest with myself. Also about my roles in certain situations, my roles in this judgment not happening. And a lot of that had to do with my fear. I slow-stepped that judgment so much earlier this year because I was afraid. I slow-stepped being honest to the karmic about how much our relationship is over because I'm afraid. I'm afraid and I'm living in fear. And because of the fear, I put a wool over other people's eyes because I'm afraid of how they're going to react. I'm afraid that they're going to walk away. I'm afraid that there's going to be repercussions. So because of that fear, I am deceiving. And I'm not afraid to be honest with that because I can be honest with myself about anything that I do and I have to. So I have been deceiving, especially in this situation with the flame and the karmic and all of this. Because with the flame, I would not blame that flame for walking the fuck away. Like, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't even be mad because I can understand. Because when you're a twin flame, you actually do understand how that person feels. And that flame is just like me, does not want to be hurt. But the flame is a little bit stronger than me. So that flame has no problem cutting anything off that would hurt them. That flame will be like, if you ain't gonna be what the fuck you supposed to be to me, if you can't be honest with me, if you're not gonna help me grow and be a better person, then I will walk the fuck away. So I have been deceiving to both because I'm just afraid. I really am afraid. I don't know how to deal with a lot of the shit that I be in. And I think I've gotten to that point where I'm just kind of like, okay, you just have to go for things that you have to just be honest. Don't be afraid anymore. Don't be afraid of what people are going to say or what they're going to do. And know that I have you. Know that I always have had you. And I've always been protecting you since you were a little girl. You've always known that. So why do you feel afraid if you know that I'm here for you? I was here for you in some of the worst times. So why do you think I'm not going to be here for you now? Don't be deceiving to anyone. Be honest and be truthful. And don't be afraid of what's going to happen, Golda, because I know that I can help you. And the next card is the helpful. So the helpful says to ask for help. Okay. And I'm sorry, it's just, they're coming through so strong. And so when I start to talk, a lot of times that's them talking to me, and it just feels really amazing because for the past month, I really detached myself so much from my guides and so much from channeling that to hear and to feel how much they're there for me, I appreciate it. So, the helpful says ask for help. Like, I like to do things on my own. That's just how I am. I've always been that way. That was one of the things my dad liked about me. One of the only things that he probably liked about me. And and he's just saying that my great grandfather's like, dude, you got to find help somewhere. You can't do it on your own. Because what you're trying to do, you're trying to step out on your own to have your own business. You're trying to step out on your own to be a single mother, and you're going to need help. So that being said, I have to now create some sort of resources. I have to create some sort of safety net. I have to create some sort of help for myself. So the next card that I have is the Romantic Fool. It says, fall in love with yourself and fall in love with life. So ultimately, I have to really love myself, okay? Lately, I haven't been, actually. Lately, I wake up and I don't even really feel like waking up. Sometimes I just cry. Sometimes I feel very like I don't add up. I beat myself up because I look at other people and allow myself to think that they are better because they're in a better situation than I am. And that's just not true. And I have to realize that, not everything that you see is what it is. And so for me to judge myself, to not love myself enough because of whatever I feel are my shortcomings, that's just not going to work. And that's what he's directly saying to me, is that he's saying that you have to love yourself. You have to have that confidence in yourself. Do not let yourself be beat up by any kind of situation, especially this karmic situation, and especially the frustrations that you have with your career and with your purpose because you are not living your purpose right now. You have to love yourself. You have to love yourself to be brave enough to do some of the things that are laid out for you to do. You have to love yourself, and you have to love life. My mother, she died very unhappy. She died very unhappy. And actually with both of these women, with the women that are coming through for this karmic and this twin connection, my mother and I feel my aunt a lot, and the two of them, they mainly had a lot of issues with self-love, and a lot of it had to do with these karmic relationships that they were involved in. My aunt, she killed herself because of a relationship, because of that lack of love. And my mother, she killed herself slowly because of lack of love. And I think that the thing about us is that we allow people to take advantage of us. We allow people to tear us down. And that's just not something that they want from me. And that's not something that my great-grandfather wants from me. And I have to be a strong person, and I have to love myself and love my life, because that's the only way that we can produce anything. Love is the strongest emotion, and it's the strongest emotion that can create anything. So I have to really stay and remain in that love and romantic of myself. No matter what happens with anything on this side, no matter what happens with these relationships, especially with those relationships, I have to love myself in the end. So with the next deck I picked was with the Shamanic healing cards. So I called upon Amisa for this. I pulled from this deck the 22nd cards. So the first card that I pulled was the anger, then movement into balance, letting go, and reunion of the souls. Okay, so the first card is interesting. Anger is what I pulled. I am very much living in anger. I have been very angry with spirit because I just feel like, what the fuck, dude? I really, really push and I do the things that I've been guided to do. And I'm like, why the fuck is anything working the way that I'm trying to have it work out? Why are things so much a fucking mess, If I'm pissed about it, I'm really pissed, and I was very pissed the fuck off. That's why I was like, fuck it, I'm not doing shit. Fuck that shit. I'm not doing not a damn thing. But you know what? You can't live in anger. Anger is not going to produce anything. I just got done talking about how powerful love is. Love is so powerful, but if you're living in anger, anger is not going to breed love. And that's not going to breed what it is that you want in your life. So to be angry, you got to let that shit go. I have to turn that anger into passion. It's a passion that is going to produce something that is good and that is positive. Because living in anger is going to stifle me. It's not going to allow me to fulfill my purpose. Also associated with my purpose, there was a vision that I had about the things that I'm going to be doing for the next 15 to 20 years. And it has a lot to do with entities, with negative entities as a shaman. And the thing about these negative entities is that things like anger, things like fear, they feed off of that. A few months back, someone came to me because a relative of theirs is said to be schizophrenic, but they don't believe that that person's schizophrenic. They believe that it was a negative entity, and it is. It is a very negative entity that has connected itself to that woman, and it torments the fuck out of her. It tells her things that are not true. It makes her believe things that are not real, and it really, really enjoys tearing that woman down. Like, to imagine that she's been living with that for 5 years, I can't even, it's ridiculous. Because for me, when I channeled it and I really saw what was happening with her, for about a good week or so, like, I felt so like terrible. And I started to realize that it was that entity and that it had attached to me. And the reason why it was able to attach to me is because of my anger and because of my resentment in life. It fed off of that. When you're sensitive the way that we are, they see those types of things. If they feel that, they will attach and they will capitalize, they will tear you down, they will kill you. Once I realized that it had attached itself to me, I cleansed myself. I did a lot of Reiki. And then I had a friend of mine at school. She instinctively, spirit led her to bring her materials, and she did a cleansing for me. And she kind of just ripped the rest of that energy away from me. And I had to walk away from that case because I wasn't ready to deal with something like that yet. Especially because I have to deal with my own shit. And that's what Amisa is also saying too, is that if you are truly going to walk into this path of being a shaman, you have to let go of a lot of these things and a lot of these earthly things too, because they breed fear and they breed anger. And you can't live in anger. You have to live in peace and you have to live in love. That's going to be your biggest defense against all of these entities that you really are going to have to deal with. You know, there's a lot more than just a spa. It's a lot more than Ayurveda. It's a lot more than Reiki. There is something in your path that has you dealing definitely as a gateway, definitely dealing with these forces. And so to deal with them, you cannot allow these human, material, earthly energies to affect you. You have to rise above anger about what's happening in your life. You have to live in love, and you have to let go of all of the bull that is in your life and all of the things that are causing you to have doubt. This karmic is very dangerous for you. You have to walk away from it because it creates too much anger in your heart, and it creates too much doubt in your heart, and it creates too much negativity. Oh, fuck. So the next card is movement into balance, okay? So when I look at this card, I see the water, I see it underground. It reminds me of Kapha in Ayurveda. Kapha is one of the constitutions. Kapha is slow moving. It's earth and water together. It's mud, slow moving, but it's also stable. If you think about mud, you use mud to make bricks, right? So this is almost like a good structure, and it's a good stable balance that you're looking for. But it's going to be a little slow moving now. You know, when I see that, it makes me feel like it's going to be a little slow moving. She's saying to me, don't rush. Because what's happening is, as you're rushing, you're creating this time clock, you're making yourself more frustrated. You have to allow things to move the way that they're supposed to move and move into this balance. But it might be a slow moving balance. She's really pushing to me to let go of a lot of the human shit, because to do that, you cause more frustration. So there's going to be a slow move to balance. How will we bring balance? Well, you have to let go. You have to let go. You have to let go of what's going to happen. You have to let go of the worry of what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen with anything, but to worry about the outcome is all it's going to do is stifle you. Your energy is really compacted and it's really just corroded with so much worry about the future. And then the more that you're worried about the future, the more you're fucking it up. So what you need to do is let go. Let go, Golda. Let go of any kind of worries. Let go of the future. I think that sometimes when you can see a lot of things in the future, you get locked into it. But the thing about the future, and this is why I really don't like to say, oh, I'm a psychic, because when you say that, people want you to talk about their future. But when I think about the future, it's like it can change. There's free will in this world. So the future could be something, like I could see something one way now, but something different can happen tomorrow that could change that whole timeline. So the worry about the future it's futile. Because when you're worried about something that's ever changing, that has the ability to change like that, you're fixated on something that might not even be. So why are you worried about the future? Don't worry about the future. The end right here. So final message from Amisa is reunion of the souls. So I can take that two ways, right? One way is a reunion of the souls, like maybe this is not all gone. Maybe that flame is not all gone. I kind of feel like that flame might be walking away. And I know that that flame is like, this is too much, and they really protect their energy. They are very protective of their energy. With that one right there is really, they don't play. So reunion of the souls, it's like maybe that might be okay. Maybe that might happen. But also, it's a reunion of me and my higher self. You know, I usually live with my higher self. We are one, but lately we have not been one. I have not been one with my higher self lately. And I think that look at that. It's like, come on, let's go back to being together. You know, we used to walk together, and now you walk separate from me, and you act as if we are not one. And that's why you are lacking. That's why you feel empty. Not just from your job, not just from your personal life. You feel empty because you are not with me. We are together, and you have to live one with your higher self. So there could be a reunion of the souls, a reunion of me and my higher self walking together, and me walking as a higher vibration, because I've been in a very low vibe time right now, where I've been walking very much in the material, very much in a career, and worrying about my career, and trying to really get involved in something that is not for me. And really, I need to be walking with my higher self and walking in spirit. And I haven't been doing that, and there needs to be a reunion of those souls. To clarify everything, because it was a whole lot, I feel like it was a whole lot that was laid off here. So I pulled from the Thoth deck. I asked Spirit, Universal Energy, Spirit, to guide me through these cards. So I pulled the Ace of Wands, the Five of Discs, which is Five of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Princess of Wands. So with this Ace of Wands, it's a new beginning. And with this new beginning, this karmic cannot be there. It is a whole lot going on, though, and there's a lot of chaos that's involved, but this is chaos that you can handle. You have to remain grounded. It's just going to be a lot happening at one time, but you can handle this. You have been prepared for this. We have been preparing you for years for this. You know, a few months back, I was walking with my husband that I'm going through divorce with right now, and he was being typical self, being negative towards me. And something happened, like something made me grab his arm. And when I grabbed his arm, something spoke through me in this kind of voice, and it said, I've been watching you for 5 years, and you're not going to hurt her anymore. If you continue to hurt her, you will see me. That's what it said. And when I let go, like, I was tripped out. And he was calling me crazy. And I was like, what did I say? Like, what did I say? Because I said other stuff, and I can't remember what all I said, but I really remember it said, I've been watching you for 5 years now, and you will not continue to hurt her. And that was a main thing that I remember. You know, there is something that has been there for me for some years, but it doesn't want me with this karmic. Everything doesn't want me with this karmic, because this karmic tears me the fuck down. And I think that is the reason why my aunt committed suicide. And it's the reason why my mom slowly killed herself. And it's not for me. That's not connected to my path or my future. And so when I see this Ace of Wands, there is a new beginning that is coming. And that new beginning is going to come after I leave that karmic. So going to the Five of Discs. It's the worry card. What are you worried about? You have created so much. You have created so much magic. And what you don't even realize is that the magic that you have created is already materializing right now, but we're not giving it to you until that karmic is gone. Because once you let go of that karmic, that shows that you have the strength and you have the faith to do anything. Your faith is what is important. And I think that because I'm lacking faith, that's why they aren't giving me what I want. And faith comes with letting go of that karmic. That karmic is really strong when I talk about karmic relationships, because it makes you think that you need it. It makes you feel like maybe you can't handle things on your own, but you can. And right now, there's a lot that I've created, and there's a lot that has been put into motion, and there needs to not be worry, but you're worrying, and I have to let go of that worry. Letting go of that worry is going to bring peace to me and bring balance. Two of Swords is about peace, because swords are about a lot of chaos, and I have to take these swords and I have to bring balance. Balance to my life. Balance is a huge theme here. The reason why letting go of that karmic is so important is because once I let go of that karmic, that is me telling the universe that I believe in it and that I trust in my path and that I have trust and faith that I am covered and that I am taken care of. That's what I feel like. So I have to balance these swords. And once I balance these swords, I will see that the Princess of Wands is coming through. The Princess of Wands is like the Knight of Wands, this messenger, this action, going towards things. This Knight of Wands is like this knight of magic, right? This princess of magic is me. Look at how she's just floating, and look, she has a staff. She has her magic in her hands. It's like her magic wand in her hand. And that is what I have to now have. Once I have stepped away from negative thought processes, negative patterns, been brave, I have to be the Princess of Wands right now. I have to be action driven. I have to have my magic with me. And as soon as I really just let go of whatever worries that I have, let go of the fears that I have, and I live in my truth. I live in my truth and I love myself. Once I love myself and I just am loving myself enough to go through these challenges and go through this fight, I can come out as the Empress. Okay? Coming out as the Empress, the divine feminine that can handle anything. Once you have really gotten to that point in your life where you know that no matter what, spirit has you, I think that's when your magic really comes out. So ultimately, after everything is read, I see that I have to now start making plans to get my own practice. Don't know how I'm doing that yet, but I have to figure it out. I have to make moves to ending that karmic, and if that flame is there, that would be beautiful, but if it is not there, I have to let go, and I have to still be happy. I still have to love myself and still have to love life, regardless of what has happened. I have to reunite myself with my higher self. I have to reunite myself with my spirit because I'm allowing it to be detached from what I'm doing with my life. I have to reattach myself, and I have to live in spirit and live authentic and live with my authentic self. And whatever that means I have to let go of, I just have to let go, and I have to not be afraid of it. There is a new beginning that is coming for me with this Ace of Wands, and there's so much that's going to happen, a lot that's going to happen. And so I have to let go of worry. I have to bring balance into my life, letting go of karmic relationships and letting go of things that are not serving me and that are not in line with my purpose. And once I do that, we will really see that this Princess of Wands will move into the Queen of Wands. Okay, so thank you so much. If you watched this whole read, thank you. So yeah, I have a lot of decisions to make. I have a lot of things that I have to now do, and I'm ready for it, and I'm up for the challenge. But thank you so much for watching, and I love you.